Hello everyone. Hope you guys are doing well. So, today we are coming back onto our Autopomber, essentially. Because the new patch got us a lot of new goodies and we changed a couple of things here and there. So, first things first, let's start with the skills. So we completely dropped Golem. I was already experimenting with dropping the Golem from my original build. I was trying to go with Bone Curse, get some source of frailty, and then maybe spec out of the armor shred. Well, we ended up going with Chaos Bolt, because now with the skeletons getting reduced mana cost, we can very easily afford to throw a couple of Chaos Bolts here and there. And we actually get decent amount of spell damage, and more importantly, we get cast speed for the minions. And then we also spec here into Rip Blood to get more hits. Essentially, it's a way to get frailty quicker. Because then you pop it, you get, say, eventually you're gonna get close to 100 intelligence, so we're gonna have a 100% chance of getting a Rip Blood every time we hit with a Chaos Bolt, so that's 2 hits, the chance of applying frailty. You know the drill. And because the way Chaos Bolts works, which is just spreads out and can multi-hit at the same target, you can get a lot of procs of frailty. So it makes it very easy to cap out on frailty, which is another defensive layer that we were lacking on the previous build. And here we go, increase area, cast speed. It's mostly for the cast speed, because we currently do not have much cast speed. I'm still not really sure what I'm gonna do with this last point. That's why it's hanging out there. Dreadshade is still the same. Mages are more or less the same. We're currently 5 out of 5 in crit chance, because we still haven't not yet gotten them to crit. And you go for the mana. Also, cast speed very important, and the linchpin of our build, along with one more Skellie and crit multiplier. And this is what keeps them alive, is the maximum health gained on crit. And we also keep the Death Knights, because I feel like their AI is better than the mages. And as you know, my previous build was already Death Knight anyway. And we also get a bit of health for them. It's a multiplier on their health. It's nice to have. Here, zombies. Since we are necrotic as we were, same thing as usual. But I don't think this changed anything here. So we go for the oh yeah, we changed something here. We went here for this node to get a skeleton warrior on death because of our lack of cast speed. The extra warrior is actually a good way to keep the mages rolling, and it would also end up going towards our mana to ward conversion. And skeletons are essentially the same. We ended up putting a point here because, well, we had that leftover point, and now with the lack of cast speed, this can actually get some use. Okay, now skills. I'm gonna leave passives for later. Let's go to gear. So, the two main things, well, 3 in this case, but this is also because I'm playing hardcore. Later on, we're gonna go over a planner from somebody else. I'll introduce him properly then. That he's doing it on softcore, because this season I'm playing exclusive. Almost, at least so far, I've been playing only hardcore. So my build ends up going a bit more into the defensive than the offensive. Okay, so here we have this is one of the important pieces. We get 2 more mages, and then we also get 2 skills, but the important thing is 2 more mages. It's gonna be a nightmare to get a good roll of this. Currently we have a okay one. It has a D6 minion spell damage, which is really good for us. Although we'd want the mana as well, or cast speed. Cast speed would also be okay. And Paylock, the other new item that is completely busted for any minion build, because 34% of damage redirected to your highest health minion. It's not the damage reduction like Red Ring or Titanheart. However, it actually scales stacks better with sources of damage reduction, because it's redirecting the damage you're taking. Unlike the damage reductions, when you're stacking them on top of each other, they actually get diminishing returns, so to speak. Because you say, for example, you take 100 damage, 10% of that is 10, and then the other one will take 10% off the 90 damage that are left. So it's not 81. So it doesn't reduce 10, it reduces 9 instead. Just so you know. That's why this is powerful. And then we also get movement speed, we get a bit of strength for armor, the increased healing effectiveness, you don't care too much. The armor is kind of low, which is unfortunate, but it is what it is. Currently I have it slammed with int and ward. That's still gear-wise, I'm just giving you an idea, because this is all subject to change still. Because it's still on early, but I'll keep updating the planner as soon as I finish up the build. Here, Inheritance of the Erased. We found one with minion health, so we slapped that in. This is really good for the damage, less damage over time taken, and increased health. So it's a double whammy, less damage over time taken and increased health. If you're doing softcore, you don't really care about, oh, if you die on occasion, it's fine, but for hardcore, it's really, really good. The frenzy chance is whatever, because we're using 7 mages, so, oh, one of them gets frenzy. Because it would be more important for a single archmage build. Here we have something we found. We have it because endurance also gives us mana, which means more damage with Chaos Bolt. For the mages with Chaos Bolt, increased health, just the usual. Our health is way higher than on the previous build, because even if we don't have that much investment into health, because health got buffed. We got really lucky with this one, Rune Bones. +3 Skeletal Mage. I couldn't even find a T4 on the other one. And here we actually found a Rune Bones with tier 3. And chance to apply Frailty. Which pairs up with something else that we have. Citadel Boots, same thing. I think it's more or less the same as I had on the other one, with the crit damage reduction, so we're fully crit capped. And here, instead of Jewel Res, we're actually using Eternal Gauntlets. It is a significant DPS loss, but at the same time, it's not as bad as it was before, because now with 7 mages, we actually can keep similar DPS going that we had before, while getting all the defensive goodies from Eternal Gauntlets, which means the armor mitigation for dot damage, and the actual armor, the flat armor from Eternal Gauntlets, which is a lot. We do lose out on the resist, and the minions do lose out on the resist and the increased spell damage. But yeah, we might end up going for it later. Maybe, but for now we're gonna keep with Eternal Gauntlets, because hardcore again. Another great change that the patch brought, that affix, that is from a champion affix. I can't remember which one currently. But yeah, increased minion damage, 3 damage, which we really want on turquoise rings, because we really want to use turquoise rings for the crit multiplier. And it's also good minion stats overall. And yeah, you get extra damage, and you actually drag your minions around with you, which is pretty nice. Very useful. And you don't have to to sacrifice a prefix on the boots. Also pretty good. And then ideally we'd want second turquoise ring with the same. And here we have a Praetorian belt. Ideally you'd want a Communion of the Erased. We have not yet been lucky finding one with good stats on it. We've been rolling them, but yeah, it's the same thing with the staff. The ideal gear is gonna take ages until you find it. That's why I am doing the guide already, so you guys can mess around with this, because I feel like this is already a much superior version than the previous auto bomber I had. Alright, idols. Currently we're running this. It has mark for death, but we're running it because of the health ward, which is really nice. And well, the Weaver enchant For now, it's that one. I don't know if that's going to be the ideal, because there's also this one, get you spell damage and ward per second while wielding his staff. And I don't know which one will actually be better at higher tier. Might be this one, because it also gives you ward decay threshold, but it's all still up in the air. For now, we're letting it stay with these. Ideally here, this is what you want. You just want it max rolled, so you get less damage for time taken. And the crit chance, the flat crit. And then here, you actually want to run another frailty on hit, especially if you cannot find any frailty on your relic. You can run just double of these with increased health. And ideally to resist, especially because you'll be able to get the new Weaver resists. The new Weaver idols with resists actually share your the resist with the minions. That's another thing. Here, ward and health regen. Yeah, it's all very simple. And blessings, we're currently focusing on our character, ward per second, increased armor, flat armor, resist, and void resist to cap out our void resist, because it was very low at that point. And now if we lose it, it's still not going to be capped. For now, it's going to stay like this. Might change in the future. But yeah, essentially this is what we have. And we can do 300 C corruption with very, very chill. Alright, on to passives then we go. It's more or less the same. We have 1 point here. I don't think that was on the other one. I don't remember. We got 1 point here. Because then we can... If we pot, it essentially fills up our whole HP. Because it's just going to consume a minion with more HP than that we have. Which generally is... You have a volatile zombie up, it will be the volatile zombie. Then I think the mages do have more HP than the skeletons. 800, no, they're essentially the same. But it generally tends to prioritize the mage. I'm not sure if it's because they kill the skeletons too fast. And then you only have a mage and it sacrifices the mage. They have to be careful with that. So we don't get rid of the Dread Shade and need to resummon it. But it's a very good way to replenish HP. Make sure your pot fully covers your HP. Then you can also, if you get changes potion to ward, you'd still get essentially most of your HP back, if not all of it either way, even by converting 100% of the potion. That was my idea, but it is what it is. Okay, everything in the rest is more or less the same. I think the other one had more health here. Currently we only have 1 point. We're actually gonna test out this node with the mineral res. I had to put a point there, I believe, to get to the next to unlock this later part of the tree, I think. But again, anything that optimizations that are done are gonna get changed and are gonna get updated in the planner, so you don't need to worry. The idea overall and the build will work just fine, 300 plus, as is. And then we'll have the other planner from somebody else that will be much, much better in terms of pure damage. And here we go on the Warlock tree, it's the same, we go for the Occultist's Mind. So we can get Chaos Bolt is also good, but we already went for Occultist's Mind to get more max mana because it was good to manage skeletons. I actually forgot to put the minion armor. I actually need to put a point there. That's really important. That's like free damage reduction for the skeletons. But yeah, it's all the same. Essentially. I might not have as many points here on the other one. I wasn't building it as defensively as I am this one, but should be exactly the same as the previous one. All the minion crit and minion damage and cast speed. Here you go 3 points so you can get the armor shred. you get this because essentially you're gonna have Mark for Death guaranteed with all the minions that are dying from this. Here we keep the vanguards that we do not have on the other one, because lack of cast speed makes the vanguards on chance, the vanguards on minion death chance, very useful to keep the mages going. And yeah, that's it essentially. This is the only main difference here. I also put a point here for having one more skeleton. I think the other one had one here. This one we grab this here. Nice to have, because we're summoning 3 at a time, so we do two summons. Chaos Bolt, for example, more or less of a rotation, means we will get if a skeleton resummons, we won't be overcapping. Yeah, that's it essentially. Nothing much changed. So now we're gonna do our DPS check. It's also gonna count as a ward generation check of sorts, so you can see how much ward you can actually generate. Just letting it drop down a bit. It's generally at 1.4. Doesn't matter. We're just gonna get there. Throw Chaos Bolt. They are buffed. Okay. So now let's start, I guess. Put out some Chaos Bolts in the middle, because that's more or less of our rotation. As you can see, we have triple LP sacks. As you can see, they can barely keep up with them blowing things up because you have no cast speed currently. Make sure. Oh right, we also have Chaos Bolt that when it hits the zombies, it makes them explode. That's also why you want to keep that one casting on occasion, because those zombies will do more damage. Really forgot about to cover that note on the Chaos Bolt. Yeah, so I derped and I cancelled the recording. If I shut down the recording instead of moving them out. So we got about 8% of the bosses of the dummies HP. So damage is pretty good, even considering we are not going fully into damage. So like I told you at the beginning of the video, this is Raimew's build. If you were gonna go softcore and you want to go for more min-maxing damage, yada yada, this is what you should follow. I'm gonna leave his planner in the link in the link below, and I'm gonna link his YouTube video where you can see his happy kill, along with him doing a 1000 corruption echo. So let's go over it. As you can see, very similar setup. It does use Seed of Victor Seal because he stacks way more mana than I have, so it makes much more sense for him to run this. He's also running Death Rattle along with Phantom Grip. He's actually replaced one of these already, because when I was going over the planner, I noticed he might be slightly overcapping his crit, so he just swapped it out for a Turquoise Ring, which we don't have yet, but I will ask him for updated planner later on and we'll add it onto the video. His Jugglers is obviously with the cast speed, because you gotta keep those minions spamming, and it's also the cast speed for himself. He's actually using Twisted Heart, 18% increased health, so really good, because as you notice, he has way more health than I have. I do have a bit more armor than him, I guess, and a bit more dot mitigation. Yeah. Then again, Praetorian, because it is. If you don't find a good communio, this is pretty good for armor. You can also think about using a Strands of Souls. But that's something, just saying, because it was on the previous build, and going with the amount of mana you go through on this build, that can actually generate quite a decent amount of ward. Not as much as before, because before you actually wasted more mana with the summons. But now with Chaos Bolt and everything, it will probably end up very similar. Then again, he does the same. Citadel Boots with crit bonus reduction, E6. I have a D7, he has D6, it's virtually the same. Probably has some more crit reduction here. And then he has Metal of the Paylogs, but he slams it with increased health and flat health, while I have mine with Int and Ward. As you can see, slightly different. If you're gonna go softcore and high corruption, I say follow his guide. Mine is... This is why I'm showcasing him, because he reached way further than I am probably gonna go, because I'm playing hardcore, and to be honest, I really don't care too much about pushing high corruption. But yeah, then he got this really good Blight of Lachesis, which has these 2 mana rolls, along with some flat spell damage for the minion. Also Chill, which is nice CC. It's actually really good stuff. Yeah, he has way more mana on this staff, and he also gets mana spent gained as ward. It really does. It probably doesn't need Stones of Souls. As you can see, his resists aren't particularly amazing, because he doesn't have much resist in his gear. He's also using Death Rattle for the increased minion crit. Multiplier, I don't use it. I was kinda on and off with it. I'm still not too sure. I might end up going back to it because the 30 health on me and that is useful. But just for the pure damage, I think we have enough damage for now. But the problem with Death Rattle is that it also makes your minions squishier. They are essentially taking 18% more damage. So take that into consideration. Let's go over his idols now, because he's using idols for mostly resist, if I remember right. Yeah, it has a chance to apply fear on hit. Good. And health and ward per second. And the other one, health and ward per second, increased crit for minions, and spell damage, ward gain while using a staff, ward gain while using a staff. He's probably still rerolling those, or he might have upgraded them by now. Here he goes for physical res. I'm guessing that's why he has this here. Yeah, physical res, and then as you can see, we've affix, so it's shared with the minions, which makes it really good to run idols for resists on this kind of build, because then your minions also get those resists. And yeah, it's essentially all resists. And then we have these with ward and health, and this one with ward and elemental resist. These are health, health and resist, essentially. Now his blessing, this is the major difference, because he has way more blessings into minion than I do. So if we go over here, XP, it doesn't matter. So he has health on Raya. Then he has 24 all minion res instead of my all res, and he has 94 minion damage instead of my flat armor and increased armor, and then it goes for mana, which I have ward. I probably should go for mana, I'm gonna be honest. That's probably something I will change. I just like to have, just trying to get as much sustain, so to speak, so we can recover faster. That's currently my main. That's why I have the build the way I have, is to see if we can recover so we don't get two-shotted. Because it's difficult to get one-shot on this build. It's not that difficult to get 2 or 3-shotted in this build, because it takes a while to recover. And that's what I'm working on, to getting better and better. Now let's go over his skills. So his Chaos Bolt. He actually specs it a bit differently. I had this spec initially like this for the increased damage chance. Because then you throw it on top of the minions and it gives them the damage chance that comes from here. I ended up dropping it and going for the increased Rip Blood. Actually, I don't know where if he has any curse that he applies on his hotbar. Or if he doesn't realize that they need to be cursed for this to affect. I should check with him. Then here, he only has 2 points because he doesn't need it. He also has Jewelers with cast speed, so that makes it makes him have like 30% more cast speed than me. Along with the Twisted Heart, which has another 12%. Oh, and because he also, another reason why he wants to sack health is because of this start, because that will convert his health into ward every time he casts Chaos Bolt. Here he goes. I went 3 points because I wanted it to make sure it was consuming the mana. He only went 2 because, well, he's using his points somewhere else. But essentially all the same. Skeleton Mage has way more points, so he can afford to max all of these goodies. And then he went Cryo Mages, because he, unlike me, I go Death Knights, he goes Cryo Mages. Which one is best? Like I said, I prefer Death Knights. It's a question of preference mostly. Supposedly the Death Knights don't get a damage penalty like the Mages do, but I haven't really tested that out to make sure it's like that. It does feel like it is. But yeah, it does go here into Cryomancer. No, right, his passive tree is gonna be slightly different as well. Here it doesn't go into the fear like I do for the exploding zombies. It does go for the warrior, skeletal warrior death. And it goes for more damage on the zombies, as you can see. He also has more points than me, so it is what it is. It is what it is. Stone skeleton. He has more points, so he can afford to go here to get one more and go here and max that out. I also went more into efficiency because I didn't feel like I needed the extra skeletons. Some slight changes, but the build is more or less the same thing. He goes for the increased buff. Don't think it's worth it because my mages tend to be almost always capped. And then we can also grab this because this gives you cast speed, which I kind of need, so I grab it. Also a bit of damage. How much we do with Chaos Bolt is irrelevant. Doesn't really matter. Now on to his passives. Okay, where are these? Are the major changes? He has 2 points here. I put a point there. Everything else is the same. Warlock, he only goes 5 points here to unlock Chaos Bolt. He does not go into the intelligence node. I'm guessing because he doesn't have that much intelligence. Yeah, he only has 27, so at the most he'd gain 25, 30 mana from the full investment into the node. Not really worth it. Oh, he goes for the full armor shred. So he goes fully into armor shred here. He goes for more increased health and gets a skeleton. He doesn't get the vanguards on kill. I do. He doesn't get life drinker. I do. Here it's all the same. Then he goes crit multi. I don't. I go more flat damage. And I don't go into crit multi at all. Yes. If you're gonna do 1000 corruption, you should probably follow his. And here it's all the same, max HP and 1 skeleton. I kind of feel like this is worth, because it is on the base of the calculation. You get 2 more damage, then that multiplies by 350% on damage effectiveness of Profane Ablation. I just feel like flat is such a nice thing to have, especially when you get modifiers where with crit avoidance, where the mages don't always crit. So it makes it more reliable for me. And as you can see, very, very similar. And this is why I wanted to showcase him on this build. Because, well, it is very, very similar. And it is essentially the same playstyle. Just slightly changes here and there. That's mostly tailored to how we play it and what we're doing with it. But yeah, Raimew proved it that this build can do 1000 corruption and kill Aberroth. So we brought it to a whole new level that I really wanted to see. I was always a hardened supporter of multi-mages and makes me happy to see it push 1000 corruption. I really wanted to put him in the video and talk about him and what he did with the build. Alright. Now, as is tradition, we're gonna go do a 300 corruption echo just so you can see how it goes and how it's playing. As you can see, I don't feel like we lack any kind of damage. After in prisons. Just summon your skeletons where you want them to be blown up. Okay, champion. Now here we are. Careful. Champions do take a little while. We could go into a tomb, but I mean, we just killed a champion. We're gonna kill a mage as well. We nearly got ourselves killed there. I didn't realize he was doing that. That's what I said. This is why I focus more on the recovery. Because you saw how quickly we recovered to full HP with quite a bit of ward. Get another mage. Not sure if he had full frailty on him. We really want to get ourselves a staff with a bit of cast speed.
My brilliance is unequaled.
Yeah, so just be careful if you're playing hardcore. Yeah, as you can see, pretty safe if you're not dumb like I was just a bit ago. It's overall a very safe build that you will be killed most of the time. And if you take a bit of damage here and there, you very easily recover your ward. Very sit on 4k ward. Anywho, and that's that. As for the leveling bit of the build, I'll just refer you to my old guide, because that has that covered, the leveling bit, at least until you get to like 50. You don't need to worry about Chaos Bolt, you don't need to worry about anything, you can just run the same as it was. You have the Golem for extra safety, and you can just be chill. I might end up doing a quick, eventually, people ask me, I'll do a quick short video on a leveling build for it, because it's really easy to set up, and it's, in my opinion, one of the best leveling builds, because it's so chill, you're so safe with so much ward. Anywho, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Alright, bye bye.